Hi guys, welcome to another podcast of Kyber Squad. My name is Freddy Days, yours truly, and with me it's
Oh.
Jerry Mogar. Jerry, say hi, please.
Hi, please.
In today's episode, we're gonna start talking about the entire season of the entire season Mandalorian. Um, no, a ver.
Go ahead, go ahead.
On today's episode, we're gonna start talking about the entire season one of The Mandalorian. What we thought about it. We're gonna give you. We're gonna start talking about the
Okay.
first season of the. We're gonna start talking about the first season of the Mandalorian. Give you our opinions about it. No, no. All right,
Happy
wow.
face.
Okay.
Happy face. Happy face. Do you want to start
Happy
over?
face.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Kyber Squad. My name is Freddy Days, yours truly, and with me, Jerry. Jerry, say hi.
Hi.
That's Jerry. He takes everything very literally.
Yeah.
In today's episode, we're going to start talking about the first season of The Mandalorian. In my opinion, one of the best series live action that we've seen so far. We're going to have more material in the future with that, we'll talk about it as they as they
Come out.
we'll talk about it as they come out.
Mhm.
Um, so we're gonna talk about. Uh, season one, The Mandalorian. So Jerry, would you like to give us your opinion? Would you like to start? Let's say episode one. One, The Mandalorian.
Yeah, sure. So this actual new season or new live action series, if you will, kind of redeemed Star Wars. We had come from a very, very, very questionable sequel saga where fans got divided, but Mr. John Favreau and Mr. Dave Filoni, they redeemed what Star Wars standard for. And they start with this scene
Exactly.
of pure fan service. We go back to a cantina. Oh my God, I need to go back to a cantina. Pandemic, please be over. And by the way, guys and gals that are
Yeah.
watching us, have a beer, have fun with us while we talk, discuss about this. And again, if you find that there's something that we were missing while talking about this, please drop down your comment. Let us know. That way we can improve on our content for you all. So we see this cantina.
Exactly. At the end of the
We
day,
see
this
bar fight.
podcast,
Yeah.
this
Mhm.
program is for you. Sorry, go ahead.
It's for you.
Sorry for
Yeah.
interrupting.
You're evil. You're evil, Freddy. You're evil. Anywho. Anywho. Yeah, we go to this cantina. We see this bar fight, reminiscing episode 4, which we just saw, which we just commented on with a little takes on Mexico. And that is the first fan service we see. But it is very, very well done. We see this Mandalorian, this badass character. And I mean, it's just so loyal to Star Wars. Of course, opinions can be dividing, but we as fans of Star Wars, we loved it. I mean, it was just a good breath of fresh air back to the original fandom, to the prequel fandom. It was just great. It was just great. I mean, me personally, I do not love the Mandalorian series. but I respect it because it's going back to what started all. I mean, it's Star Wars, and it's from a point of view that's not lit with a lightsaber per se. So it's another narrative, if you will, of a character that isn't strong with the Force or strongest with the Force, but it's great because you get to see different characters, you get to see different species that we had seen before. So this is a very, very lovely series as far as reminiscing what Star Wars stands for. All of its diversion, or all of its diversity, sorry, all of its diversity, and how everything just embeds in Star Wars. How everything is so very much, how to call it, so enriching as far as species, colors. You get everything. I mean, if you're looking for
Yeah.
for
Yeah. Yeah.
something that's inclusive, we don't just have black, yellow. I don't know. How do you call them? Mexicans?
White.
White, whatever. You get blue, you get green, you
Brown.
get
Whatever.
everything.
Yeah.
You get everything. And that's what George Lucas standard for when doing Star Wars. I mean, you don't need to push anything or force anything like the sequels, well, to my perspective, did. Because Star Wars is that
Yeah. I
way.
mean, the
Star
movies
Wars,
are something completely different.
yeah, the sequels are
They just happen.
something,
Let's say it like that.
and we'll get there. We'll get there, definitely. And you'll hear our thoughts on that.
Yeah.
There are some things that are fan service and that are respectable, if you will. But there are many things that we do not conjugate with.
Yeah. Exactly. So okay, so as Jerry said, we get the first episode getting of this character of a Mandalorian, which, if you remember, we haven't seen in the new movies and the new sequels. We haven't seen much, but from the previous past, from the previous shows, which are the Star Wars Clone Wars animated series and Star Wars Rebels. So we get in live action this mysterious Mandalorian character. I don't know about you guys, but I actually like the Mandalorians overall.
Yeah, they're a nice breed. I mean, or race, if you will. They're, well, not nice because
They're not dogs.
like,
I mean,
hey,
don't call them breed.
they're not like
dogs.
well, culture or whatnot. But I mean, they're
Yeah.
cool. They're cool. That's the word I was looking for. They're cool because they have their values, their culture, and everything is embedded in their lingo, if you will. And it is cool to see something different that than just the Jedi or the Force or just everything related to the Force, and just having to give more power to a protagonist, which they did on the sequels just because she was female and the Force is female, without any good background, switching the story over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, which I think is what pissed most of us fans off. I mean, it's good that you have a female protagonist, yes, but we had a good, strong female character from the get-go. There is Leia, and she was great. But let's not mess with the sequels right now because that's another whole different new topic. So what you think about this?
I mean, with the Mandalorian, as I mentioned, we've seen Mandalorians, but only in animated series. This is the first live-action series that Lucasfilms, that Disney, let's say, puts their bet on. And well, we all know Mandalorians. We all know their reputation, how they are fear warriors. fierce warrior. Sorry. So Mando from the very first episode starts kicking ass, being this bounty hunter, and well, let's say we start with the right foot. We can say it like that, and we see this. We start getting more background story about, you know, their armors, their values. We get this flashbacks of what the Mando. How, we get the background story of Mando, you know, what he has gone through, and we get to learn that that he was as a little kid, let's say, he lived through the Clone Wars. So that's like a glimpse to the past. Very cool, very good, and then we go as we go by, we meet this other characters, let's say, that are what would be the word, reminisce, because by at this point, by
reminiscing,
this point, we learned that,
is that the word?
Reminiscing. I think, yeah, like the last members, let's say, from the Empire. By this point, we learned that the the Mandalorian series is, I believe, 15 years, around 15 years after the episode 6, which was when the Empire was destroyed. So we see ish, yeah, because as I said, these reminiscing people from those times are still trying to bring back the Empire. So we start getting these missions, these secret missions, like, okay, I need you to bring me this bounty, and if you bring me this alive, obviously I'm gonna give you all this Beskar. So okay, what's going on? And we start seeing more other characters, more bounty hunters that we also learn from past movies, past series, and the series goes just fine. So after this guy, this old man that decides to that tells client. Mando, like, the client, bring me this bounty.
He's on a new job. He's on a new gig, and we find this bounty, which was just like a throwback moment. It's the race of Yoda. So immediately when you see this cute little thing, you're like, oh my goodness. It's just like an arrow to the heart. You're just thrown back.
Exactly.
And just, oh my goodness. I mean, once again, I'm dark side, but just going back to that and going back to what the Empire stood for, going back to the order that the Empire brought, and going back to that masterful, this wise creature that was Yoda, you're like, oh my God, this fits just right into Star Wars. Nothing forced, nothing that's out there just pushing some ideology. It's just pure Star Wars, man. And you feel taken care of. You feel pampered by that.
Exactly. We're not gonna go much into the detail of the story of each episode, because we don't. If you haven't seen the Mandalorian series, we don't want to spoil. Give any. I'm sorry. We don't want to give any spoiler alerts. Spoiler. I don't want to spoil you guys. We don't want to give any spoilers, But yeah, as Jerry said, by the end of the first episode, we see this internal conflict of the Mandalorian with these other bounty hunters when they get to this prize. And as Jerry said, it was an arrow to the heart because when was the last time that we saw this, let's say, species from Yoda? In episode 6, Yoda died.
It was actually on episode 5 he died. It was on episode 5 that he died.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, slap on me.
Slap on your face.
But let's say, was this like a wink wink, a new hope for this species, which is, well, we learned through the series that it's also force sensitive. So we start like, okay, is this a baby from Yoda? Where does he come from? And well, we see this immediate click between the Mando and this baby Yoda. We're gonna start calling him Baby Yoda because
no, I'm gonna call him Pascaline. You, Pedro Pascal.
Okay.
Tú que sabes hablar español, pero en chileno, que es un poco más diferente. I'm sorry, guys. We promised that this was going to be Spanglish, so we're gonna make it Spanglish. Pedro Pascal, tú que sabes español, te queremos un día en este podcast. Si es que llega a eso. But that's why I call him Pascaline, in honor of Pedro Pascal. He's done great. I mean, he's done Game of Thrones, Narcos. He's been all over the place. Even Wonder Woman. I mean,
exactly.
Get to Gal Gadot. Oh my goodness.
We can actually go back, way back in Pedro Pascal, let's say, resume. There was a series, TV series, very famous back in the early 2000s, which was called The Mentalist. Pedro Pascal actually performed. Yeah, he actually performed. He participated in that series. I mean, that's a different show, but anyways, Pedro Pascal, great actor that, well, I mean, we learned by the end of the season 1 that he is the one wearing the Mandalorian armor. What else? We see all this conflict also of the Mandalorian, because as in each episode, as goes by, every time that he let's say encounters a droid, we see his hatred towards the droids, and that's why, because, well, as we mentioned, he went through the Clone Wars, so we see these scenes where they don't actually tell you per se that their dads were killed by the droids, but I mean, we hear this loud boom after his parents put him into safety, and all of a sudden, when these doors get opened, we see that the Mandalorians were the ones who took him under their care,
their wing,
and raised him as under their wing. Yeah, exactly. And they raised him under their code,
creed,
under their creed, under their beliefs, whatever. But we get to see more Mandalorians, and I mean, one of the characters that I was like, wow, these are amazing, was this lady, badass lady, the one who creates the armor of the Mando after he gets the Beskar, the Beskar. We see all this badass suit. I mean, I've never seen a more badass armor than the one that he he's wearing, all in platinum. Just beautiful.
All pimped up, yeah. And just to cut out here, there's creatures that we met on episode 4 that we didn't know much about them, but now we know at least what they like to eat, what they cherish, what they do, which are the Jawas, those ones. And it's interesting because we see them dismantling the Razor Crest and then bargaining with Mando and this Quill guy, which is kind of like a pig. We see this dynamic, which you cannot stop and wonder how they survive. I mean, they went for an egg, and just that's kind of like their treat. But you cannot stop and wonder what's going on with their culture, with their race, if you will, and you just start mind mind blown. You just start to create these ideas, these theories, and that's something else the Mandalorian series gave us as fans. Kind of like uniting us back again, like the original fans, uniting us back. Like, I mean, take the original trilogy ones and the prequel trilogy ones. It united us all. It united us all, something that Lucasfilm, Disney, Kathleen Kennedy couldn't do.
Yeah.
Couldn't do. And that's something very important.
Yeah, and what makes let's say this Mando series very important is because it's, let's say, the first live action project from Dave Filoni and Dave Filoni and John Favreau. Yeah, exactly. We've only seen their work in, as you said, animated series. Then we see another important character which I actually liked very much. Unfortunately, I'm not going to talk about that, but we see this important character that in this first season I loved, which is Cara Dune, interpreted by Gina Carano. She's a badass character. I mean, damn. When we first meet her, having this amazing fight with the Mando one-on-one, she kicked Mando's ass. I mean, it was pretty tight. I mean, we know that Mando, he knows how to fight. He knows he knows how to defend himself. But Cara Dune, wow.
She was about to kick his ass. She was about to kick his ass. If not by Pascaline or Baby Yoda, I mean, Mando would be no more. I mean, she's just that strong female character that you love. I mean, it is noticeable that she's gone through stuff and she's learned how to do things. Yeah, it's a big show of badassery there. She's a chingona. There's no other way to put it. She's a chingona. Which, if you don't know what a chingona is, if you're somewhere else in the world, a chingona is a chingona. Look it up.
This man. Please, I apologize on behalf of Jerry. He's kind of retarded.
Don't apologize on behalf of me. I ain't apologizing for that shit. Well, anywho, this special character, this strong woman, and I even thought she was sexy. I mean, that big show of badassery is quite sexy. I mean, for yours truly, quite sexy, and she showed she had it where it counted. But anywho, we'll get to that gossip in the next time we discuss season two. Okay. And
So what else? I mean, after they meet this character of Cara Dune, we see what what let's say the scars the Empire left on other planets, which I mean the Empire was the only law by then, and we see that other uh, planets, other people, if you will, have learned to survive, to be independent. All this conflict,
hmm?
and well, as the shows goes by, because it's a short series, only of 8 episodes.
Yeah.
We see the evolution of this character. I mean, we see the evolution of Mando, the evolution of his relationship between. We can see a relationship between father and son, how he starts growing this love for little Pascaline or little baby Yoda, or whatever you want to call it. Uh, the evolution, and I mean, by the time that we learned that baby Yoda is or Pascaline is force sensitive, to me was like,
I mean, it was pretty much obvious. but yeah,
I mean, we're gonna talk later on, because we know that season 2 is out there already. Some people may have seen it already, but it gave you a lot of room to start your own theories, if you will.
mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just an amazing show. We see that also this little baby Yoda, this little Pascaline, also has a very close relationship with Mando.
Yeah.
They have a relationship basically of father-son.
Yeah.
He took care of him the same way the Mandalorians did with him back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, he goes and
Another thing
he does what the creed dictates for him to do. So that's something very, very, very cool to watch. They start to build this attachment towards each other. You cannot help but at least me personally, start thinking of what would it be like to have a child? I mean, to have somebody that depends on you. I mean, personally, I do have two daughters, two dog daughters. Well, anywho, two perrijas, as we will call it here in Mexico or Spanish. Yeah, and if you have this attachment towards them, you cannot start but wonder, what would it be like if you had one fruit of your loins, if you will? I mean, how complicated that would be, and how complicated that is to parents, how tough that path is. But you start to kind of like get the feel of it by this series. And yeah, we see that everybody falls in love with Pascaline, with Baby Yoda, if you will. Everybody falls just instantly in love with it, if you will, or whatever. And it's just this father-son relationship that takes you far away. We see Gina Carano, which is kind of like the uncle here. Yeah, Cara
Yeah,
Dune, like
the
the
mother
auntie.
figure.
Yeah. Well, not, I wouldn't say the mother figure, but I would say the
Well,
auntie
yeah, not the
figure.
mother figure, but
Yeah,
yeah,
like
exactly.
the Tia Cuervo, what we know here in Latin America or Mexico as the Tia Cuervo, which is the one that always will stand for you and will always applaud your successes. And hi to every Tia Cuervo out there. um, we really appreciate y'all.
Something that I personally also liked is we see droids, and I mean we've always seen um, these robots as just that, robots. But as in the animated series, as in shows, and in this live action, we see that even though they are robots, there is something else, something extra, as in they try to, let's say, make them more human, uh, in a sort of way, because we also learn that, well, we meet another character. I'm not sure, well, I don't remember the name of this character, but this person who used to work for the Empire and now he's retired. He bought his freedom,
Yeah, Quill,
and
Quill.
he
That's Quill.
reprograms
That's thing
Quill.
like, yeah, gets it. Quill.
Exactly. So um, this person, it takes the droid that we see in the very first episode. He reassembles the the droid, and he talks about him. And I say him about the droid because he reprograms it. But I mean, you would think that if you take a droid, you just assemble it and whatnot, they would. I mean, they're robots. They will just go ahead and walk as just that, a robot. But
Yeah.
he starts talking up. Sorry. He talks about this droid like a human, and we see these scenes where he starts walking, he starts grabbing things, how it's a work in progress, and he says that the droids are not that different than any human being. And that's pretty impressive. That's like, okay, and you start to appreciate other droids if you haven't already. Let's say, like, in the same way that we appreciate R2, the same way some may appreciate C-3PO. I personally don't like him that much. Him, not it, him,
Mhm.
because they have their own personality.
Mhm. Mhm.
So this droid that started as a bounty hunter, it's now different because they reprogrammed it, but he's still way within itself. He knows that he's a droid, and there is a protocol that you cannot unlearn, which we'll talk a little bit in a few minutes.
Yeah. And talking
But
about this
this,
episode, talking about this episode, one very important thing to note here is that the director of this one, which is Chapter 8, is Deborah Chow, who is the director for the Kenobi series. So it does give us a good in-depth, or at least some type of view of what the Kenobi series will be reaching for. And that was pretty good. I mean, I really thought that this was a very, very strong chapter for her to direct and to guide us, or at least give us some type of understanding what the Kenobi series is going to go for. Now, the thing here to note is, if John Favreau and Dave Filoni are going to be show running this, or at least overseeing this, it's going to be great, because Mando was just like that. If the other person goes and puts her fingers, her nails on it, I wouldn't be hoping for anything good. I would have low expectations. So let's just see what happens. I mean, that's a very, very acclaimed series that's in the works now. But I mean, you guys judge.
Exactly. We'll talk about it. Let's say the Kenobi series as I believe the show starts next year. There are some. I mean, they haven't released any official date, but I believe in 2022 it's gonna come out live.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
2020, I believe. But yeah, I mean, talking about this series, we see that even other characters, let's say, something that we didn't mention at the very first episodes, we see this other. How would we call it? This character who's in charge of the bounty hunter clan
guild. Yeah. The bounty hunter guild.
Exactly. So he saw Pascaline, Baby Yoda, as just an object, just a bounty. But then at season, I believe it's episode 6, when they are attacked by this type of, I would say, dinosaurs just go fly and attack the camp. After Baby Yoda saves him, and we see this other force power that we only saw on episode 9, where you can actually force heal. Well, actually, we don't know. We not only see it in episode 9. We see like some glimpses, some winks from episode 3, which was when Darth Sidious makes some sort of force health on Anakin to try to save him or keep him alive. The same way we see Obi-Wan doing with Luke on episode 4, when it's like just putting his hand like, okay, let's see what happens. In episode 9, when Rey heals Kylo Ren, and now Baby Yoda doing guild.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty cool.
And that then, is Carl Weathers. That is our Apollo Creed. So he didn't die. He just switched franchises. Anywho.
I mean, well, yeah, he's just acting a different character. He's not.
But which is he? We see that he actually directs one of the episodes on the next season. But we'll get there when we get there. Just bear with us.
Yeah. And well, as we go, as we're getting closer to the great finale of the first season of The Mandalorian, it was pretty impressive seeing all this stormtroopers. I'm sorry, I was gonna say clone troopers. Stormtroopers getting into this bar, getting surrounded, and this amazing fight. I mean, just
yeah. I mean, and those stormtroopers, that's the 501st Legion. So those are fans, and you can check that out on the extra content on Disney Plus. But those are actual fans acting on the series, so you cannot help and think, hey, what a privilege to be there. I mean, what a privilege to
Where can I apply for that? I would like to.
Where can I apply for that? Yeah. I mean, put a mask on me. I don't care. Bring me as an extra. I'll appreciate it. I'll give a shout out to you. As long as it's Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni directing. I wouldn't do the other thing. But yeah, it's just, and then we see Giancarlo Esposito interpreting Moff Gideon, You have something I want. Oh my goodness, that phrase and that scene, it's just beautiful. And it was pretty easy to guess that that was going to be a good episode, because that one was directed by Taika Waititi. Taika Waititi was the director of Thor Ragnarok, the Thor movie that that just made everything that was before that look better. I mean, it was dark, but to my judgment, to my personal judgment, of course, I could be wrong, it wasn't done quite well. But Taika Waititi just came out there, gave it some comedy, gave it some thought to it, embedded everything, and made it good. And Taika Waititi, by the way, is the voice of this droid, this IG-11 unit that Freddy talked about some minutes ago. It's just great. I mean, everything he jumps on looks like he has to do some sort of cameo, right? So you get in Thor Ragnarok, he's the voice of Korg, which is the character of, hey man, I'm Korg. I'm kind of the leader here. And, well, yeah, I ain't gonna escape.
Okay, so fun facts. I didn't know about this that you're talking about, Taika Waititi. That's cool. That's pretty cool.
Now you know.
Now I know. So, I mean, the Mando series is just full with emotions. I mean, some minutes you're laughing, some minutes then you're like, you're sad, you feel frustrated, you feel angry, like, ugh. There's a bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, me personally, it's one of the saddest moments where I felt like, oh man, it's when they kill Quill. Man, I just felt that right in my heart. He was trying to get Baby Yoda to safety, but then this scout troopers in their bikes.
Yeah, I love
They
that
take
comedic
Baby Yoda.
relief. Let's talk about a scene before they get to Quill. This scene, this comedic relief scene, I just loved it, man. When they're just like aiming and they don't shoot to anything. They're like, okay, let me try. Boom, nothing. Boom, nothing. It's just like playing with what the fans say. They're like, hey, stormtroopers hit nothing. So it's just like playing with that again, getting back to the fan base. It's about that. Star Wars is about that. It's not about pushing an agenda. I mean, you can still push an agenda, but being loyal to us fans, that's what we're all about. In season 2, we see a scene where,
I mean, talking about
yeah, when we are with a bunch of female strong characters, which me personally I love. I mean, they're kind of pushing an agenda, but it doesn't feel forced. You appreciate that. So
Yeah.
again,
but
Filoni for
let's say
president.
talking about
bro, for president.
talking about what you mentioned. I mean, just like a parenthesis here. I mean, there is an explanation why the clone troopers. No, I'm sorry. The stormtroopers never miss. No. There's an explanation about why the stormtroopers never hit their targets, and that's because we all know, or well, at least most of us know, that they are not clones. They are not a breed. The clones they are a breed. Stormtroopers are regular people like you and me, which the Empire hired to be their troops,
Well,
part of their troops. I mean, yes, they are trained, yes, but they are not.
They didn't hire
people
them.
who you get.
They kidnapped them, as far as I have the understanding. Or would that be for the New Order?
That would be for
I think
the
that
First
was
Order.
for the New Order.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
First
sorry.
Order. First Order. Sorry.
Yeah, The First Order. They take people who are, they kidnap them. They are, what's the word? Homeless people.
Well, not necessarily
No,
homeless,
not
because
homeless.
if you
No,
watch
they're
episode 9, the daughter of Lando bueno, the daughter of Lando Calrissian, she was kidnapped from Lando. So they're not per se homeless, all of them. Probably some of them, but not all of them. Some of them are just kidnapped. But anywho, to your point.
orphans. That's the word. That's the word that I was looking for. Orphans. For the First Order, they are orphans.
Okay.
People, you know, they are abandoned. So yes, they take them. But by the time of the Empire, they're just regular people. They enrolled, and we learned this also in the show of Star Wars Rebels, which one of the characters, which is Sabine Wren, used to work for them. She enrolled to work for the Empire.
Oh yeah, and
So,
you know who
I
else?
mean-
Who else was working for the Empire? Wedge Antilles. Wedge Antilles shows up as well as being part of the TIE fighter pilots, if I'm not mistaken. And then he joins the Rebel squadron, which is he's a badass pilot. And the actor that interpreted him as Ewan McGregor's uncle. Would you look at that? I mean, how cool would that be? I mean, in your family, 2 protagonists and 2 strong protagonists of Star Wars. Would you picture that? I mean, cool beings.
Yeah, so I think we got lost. What were we talking about?
We were talking about the aim of the stormtroopers, and then where they came from.
Yeah, so the aim, but now, I mean, you were they were playing with your emotions. I was at least having this slight hope that Quill would actually escape with Baby Yoda, with Pascaline, but then we just see him laying on the ground, smoke coming out of him, and then these troopers going back, taking the bag where Baby Yoda was hidden, and I was like, man, I mean, I actually felt bad. I felt sad. I almost cried. I mean, I was like, what's this to cry?
Bless your heart.
I mean,
bless your heart.
I have what we call a corazón de pollito.
If you're not in Mexico, if you're somewhere else, corazón de pollito means corazón de pollito. That's what it means.
A chicken heart. You have a small heart. You have like a tender heart. They're like, oh. So I mean, that scene, I was like, wow. No, I mean, I didn't expect that. I didn't see that coming. But it was great. I mean, still, it was great. It had to happen. It gave you that twist. The good guys are not always gonna win, and that's what they actually tell you with this.
Yeah, and there's not like white or black. It's just there are shades of gray between everything, and that is what they're trying to do here. There's a backstory to everything. It's not white or black. I mean, George intended it that way in the original trilogy, I think. But it's not just all about that. I mean, there's always experiences that are going to change you, or going to change the trajectory of you as a person. And that's very, very interesting to see, and how they make that possible with this new series. Still being loyal to Star Wars, they push the agenda because, yeah, of course, that needs to be done. We're aiming for equality, of course, and that's all great. But that is how you do it. That is how you do it. Filoni and Favreau have got their points right. And that's why hashtag
Exactly.
Favreau for president. I can run your campaign, Favreau. Please hire me.
I mean, as a side note, as a side note, I would definitely love to see Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau directing a Star Wars movie. They deserve it. They've proven themselves in the animated series and in this live action series and for the future TV series they would probably make. They've proven that they are worthy of this Star Wars fandom. This, I mean, they are amazing directors. They are amazing writers. They are simply amazing.
And
Watching a
yeah, I
movie
mean,
directed by them, that would, I mean, give them the budget, give them the opportunity. They would boost. I'm pretty sure they would boost the Star Wars franchise.
how do you say pañal in English?
How do you say,
How do you say pañal in English? How do you say that?
diaper?
Yeah, if that were to happen, I would need to bring my diaper on when I watch the movie. I would need to be prepared because I know it would kick ass. And yeah, to be honest with
Yep.
you, these guys redeemed Star Wars for me. For me, just my humble opinion, my bad opinion, however you want to call it. Everybody has their opinion, so that's my opinion. They redeemed Star Wars
Yeah,
for me.
exactly.
And yeah, I mean, Dave Filoni incorporated a lot of what was out there on Legends. He did Thrawn, Ahsoka, which is the name of one of my two daughters. I'm just waiting for Mara Jade to be incorporated and have a tragic story for her, and that having to do with Luke's ugly arc. That could explain everything. That could explain everything. If we incorporate Mara Jade, which is the name of one of my two daughters, and oh my goodness, that would be just so great.
I mean, if we know the story about Mara Jade, which is also something outside of the Mandalorian, but just as a side note, I don't think that we're ever gonna see her in the Star Wars story.
Don't you get me started. Don't
Anyways,
you
we're talking
get
about the
me
Mando.
Started.
We'll talk about that later. We'll make
Yeah.
a kyber picante, a spicy kyber, to talk about all of this. But okay, so we left off as Quill getting killed and going back to this amazing battle, which is preparing everything for, for the final episode. So after this amazing crossfire, this back and forth battle, we see the last resource, the ultimate sacrifice. I mean, let's remember that Quill saved this droid, prepared it. He makes an important point. He's still a droid. His basic protocol is not erased. He can fight if he needs to. So when the droid sees that Quill was dead, I mean, that's what we talked about, making droids a little bit more human. The droid goes into savage mode, into his instinct, into his basic protocol, which is kill.
Mm-hmm.
And he helps Mando and Cara Dune and this other characters, and we see the ultimate sacrifice, the basic protocol, which is I'm gonna say it now. When in trouble or surrounded, when there's nothing else to do, the basic protocol of the droid is self-destruct. And this important scene makes this this makes
Makes
Mando.
everything
I mean,
worthwhile. I mean, mm,
yeah, but also
mm.
changes something with Mando. Let's remember that Mando never liked droids, never, even the very basic droids that we've seen in in other movies, the droids that fix the ships. I mean, Mando didn't like them. But when this droid makes this sacrifice, helps them, it's I mean, my mouth was like just my mouth dropped. I was like, oh,
Your mouth and your pants dropped.
my pants, everything. I was like, wow. I mean, again, all emotions. Everything is it's about emotions. I was like, unbelievable. Makes Mando actually like this droid. Makes him feel at a certain point or to a certain level feel sorry, maybe. Well, not sorry, but it's like he regrets maybe about being so rough with him, like never giving him the opportunity of, okay, I mean, yeah, you weren't that droid within your basic programming. I mean, I get what Quill now said, so it's like an an honor. It's a way to honor the droid and Quill's memory.
And as Darth Vader would point it out, the circle was no complete.
The circle was now complete. But not yet. We get this glimpse of, okay, okay, so they make it alive. They are safe and sound now. Mando leaves, escapes, but then the perfect finale for season 1, the dark saber. Oh man,
Beautiful.
man. I mean, wow.
Oh, Moff Gideon.
I
Moff Gideon,
never-
just a badass.
I never imagined seeing in a live series the dark saber. The dark saber, we know the story from only the animated series, only that. When the dark saber comes out, and this scene where Moff Gideon is standing like in a conqueror mode, even though his ship is wrecked and he didn't catch the Mando and his friends, but we see him in this badass stand with the dark saber. I was like, man, my heart almost comes out of my chest. It was incredible. Just that,
I just went
incredible.
all Jonah Hill on that. Just like that. I mean, it's
Yes.
just a big show of badassery just by bringing the dark saber to screen, and Giancarlo Esposito interpreting everything so precisely, man. It's just now.
I mean, Giancarlo Esposito is a very great actor. I mean, we've seen him in other series.
Freddie,
I mean,
Freddie, do me a favor, because the shirt you're wearing right now is what happened to me when Giancarlo Esposito jumped out of the TIE fighter. That's what happened to me.
my mind, yes, my mind was just was blown. It was amazing. It was perfect. Everything in the Mandalorian first season was just perfect.
Yeah, but well, anywho, you guys have heard us. This time we didn't misinterpret any dialogue. Well, yeah, kind of. The part of, you have something I want. But that was it. Anywho, if you liked what we came up with for you, you know what to do. Give us a like, comment down below, subscribe. If you didn't like it, dislike it. Comment down below. That way we can improve for y'all. And again, subscribe.
Yeah.
We're here for you.
As an extra comment or a final comment for you, Jerry. Sorry to interrupt. We didn't go or we didn't talk that much of this episode. So, I mean, we just talk about the, let's say, most important scenes, the characters, our opinion on the Mandalorian series. Let us know if you would like for us to discuss more in depth this each of the episodes. If you would like to hear us talking each episode of the Mandalorian, so we can go through the story more in detail. This was just our opinion. Let us know, as Jerry said, if you liked it, if you didn't like it. Leave us your comments. That would really help us improve. Questions? Do you have questions? What would you like for us to talk about? Let us know.
What is a corazón de pollo? Questions like that, or questions or random questions. We're here for you guys and gals. So please let us know. May the force be with you.